Hi, welcome to Space Chicken, the podcast whose Halloween plans to go as the group from Payday was totally ruined by all of these other asshats in clown costumes. Today, joining me from the great Midwest, or east of the Midwest, or not the Mideast, is Ralph. Say hi, Ralph.
Hello.
All
That's
right,
me.
and as always, it's me, Danny, and we're now in like a parallelogram, Z shape kind of thing. You can see I call it the Tetris square, the anorexic Tetris square. If you're watching, if you look at the design that the space is making, not space, actual outer space, which is the background for those of you who won't listen to the audio. Today, Space Chicken, we're doing spooky games. It's Halloweenish time. I don't know if I'm going to have this up in time for Halloween, but this was definitely recorded around Halloween. And we wanted to talk about the scary games. We got the Resident Evils, right? We got the Evil Withins. We have all of the jump scare stuff on the Steams. We've given birth to a whole new genre of scary games with the advent of VR, right? Which is taking walking simulators to the next level. And by next level, I mean they're still walking simulators, except in 3D space on VR, which I imagine is the only inevitable level for walking simulators to get to. So, Ralph, what would you like to contribute to scary games? Talk to me.
I want to say the only scary game I've actually played that has scared me was Condemned Criminal Origins. You remember that?
Oh, on the Sega, on the what was that? The Dreamcast?
Sega? No.
No, it's by Sega. It was by Sega. It was on the
it launched
360.
with the 360. Yeah.
That's right. It was on a 360.
Yeah.
I remember. You were killing like hobos and stuff.
Yeah, with pipes. It was a hobo. It was the hobo killer sim, I believe. Yeah. Where you just travel around like the gutters of your city, beating the shit out of homeless people in an attempt to clear your name, which, was like a thrill ride for me. But yeah, I think I want to say that's the only game that really scared me. I played Resident Evil. It's I don't think it's supposed to be scary anymore. I think it's just supposed to be, more thrilling than anything else. And
Well,
then
which Resident Evil? Like, are you talking about like
four,
four, five, and six, or
yeah, the newer ones,
yeah?
which are just making that push to sort of pull in that Call of Duty crowd where it's more guns and less actual scary elements.
So I remember like the original. You almost made me say Call of Duty. The original Resident Evil. Like, I felt like the scariest part of those games were the camera angle. Like, I felt. I I honestly I didn't like that game. I didn't like the original Resident Evil, and I didn't find it scary either. But I always thought that we were playing from the perspective of the security camera. Like, that
Hmm.
entire game feels like we're playing from the POV of what they found after they came and raided the mansion after all the
That,
cameras. I actually I'm on record as saying it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say this one: Resident Evil One was a terrible game. It was fucking really bad. It was a really bad game.
it was a sort of thing where it set its jump scares up like you would go around the corner and then the camera would, adjust to the next camera angle. And there would be no musical buildup or anything. There'd just be a zombie standing there facing the other direction. And then you'd sort of just flinch. That'd be your reaction to it.
Yeah, but that's a good point. So like when we talk about scary games, so like what are we talking about that was scary? Because Condemned, it didn't have a lot of jump scares. It doesn't have memorable jump scares that
It had
I
a
can
couple.
recall.
It had the one where you follow the teacher. Spoilers, it's an old game. But my favorite, and a lot of people's favorite, is where you're looking. So the story is, for people that don't know, you're a detective who gets framed for killing two of your cop buddies. But the guy that killed your cop friends is a serial killer. He's going around the city murdering other murderers and then frames you for it.
Right, and it's
So
also King of the Hobos.
I, I don't remember that. Are you making that up?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean,
Uh, we'll see. I'm gonna have to Google that later. That is that was that the was
is
that whole
is the killer
psychological?
of Condemned Origins a hobo army general? Yeah, but okay, so that was it. But a lot of Condemned, what made it kind of creepy was almost like it's the psychology behind it, right? I mean,
Yeah, there was this whole weird supernatural subplot going on where you don't. Nothing is ever like they fucked it up in part two. Just act like part two doesn't exist. But they set it up so that you're interpreting it in your own way. And the way I interpreted it was he was just having a psychological break, going through all these just hovels, beating the shit out of people with electrical conductors, trying to just prove that he's innocent and losing parts of himself along the way. And that's sort of how I saw it. The true ending is sort of bizarre, but it sort of alludes to the fact that he's not himself anymore, even though that he's innocent.
Yeah, because the people he's fighting like turn into monsters, right? But it's not clear if they're monsters or if he's just seeing them as monsters.
Yeah, well, no, he is hallucinating because like you beat the shit out of the monsters, but then everything goes back to it's just a hobo. I was seeing that.
Right, and that's part of the freakiness of it.
Yeah.
Like I think that definitely works more towards making a scary game versus just what do I want to say? Just jump scares, Like I feel like there has to be like a psychology to what it is that's making you frightened. Because if not, I don't think it's doing any justice. Your camera's really choppy, so I have to put an image over your face because that's what we do when cameras get choppy. On this podcast, on this video podcast, we go and we find pictures to put over people's face.
So I can go full nude now?
No, it's not going to be over your entire face. It's just going to be over a certain part. I just saved this picture. Anyway, other games. So like when we compare that to Resident Evil, because there was no psychological like part of Resident Evil, right?
No.
There was nothing when you play Resident Evil where you're like, oh man, this was such a mind meld. My mind is just so blown right now. But like that never happened.
No, it was more about the isolation and the situation of I'm in this place alone with this zombie virus and I have to find out what happened sort of deal.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I never got into it like I got into Condemned because of the story that was built around it. It doesn't spoon feed you all of these elements that like, this is why this is happening, So I never really connected with that sort of style of, the shitty, you brought up the shitty one of the two.
Oh no! But there, look, I'm getting rid of all of it because the covers were essentially the same. I just need a perfect shape to put over your face.
Okay.
So that because some people when the cameras come through choppy like that, people complain about the choppiness. So this is good. I might put a spooky thing on my face later too.
Oh, I can deal with that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Cool. So again, for the audio people, he's a big eyeball looking through a peephole. Other ones. Have you played Silent Hill?
No.
So I played the first Silent Hill, and the first Silent Hill, again, it's like if you go back and play it now, like it feels old, like it feels like an old game. And I never finished it, but that one felt freaky because the monsters didn't correlate to anything like real. Like it was monsters, but everything was kind of odd. Like there was this big triangle head guy with a big sword who follows you, and that was kind of like generally mess with your brain because there was no what's the word?
Reason for him to exist. He was just...
He had no eyes, no mouth. He was just like a big pyramid head monster with a sword. Like that kind of messes with your head a little bit because it's nothing. And the whole thing with the whole Silent Hill series, and I've only played one, was that the whole thing was a psychological thing because all the monsters you fight in Silent Hill are supposed to be some part of the protagonist's psyche and guilt over what happened. But that game also, I think, has an alternate ending where it could turn out that a dog is screwing with you. I don't know if it was that one or Silent Hill 2, because, again, something I've gone on record saying is a lot of Japanese games are weird towards the end, where it's like, there's the whole Solid Snake thing that I'll never understand. So I was playing, what the hell was I playing today? The Evil Within, right? So I put chapter 1 online, and I played through chapter. I died a lot. It was very tense, like that first chapter, and it was fun to play. Have you played Evil Within?
No, I keep trying to look for it, but
So
I can't pull the trigger.
it was totally on sale. I totally recommend it, and I think you're totally gonna like it. The problem I had with it was after that first really like slasher style first level survival horror thing. The next two chapters turn into a stealth action game, which is really weird. Like the speed of the game completely changes. Where what's survivally is that there's not enough ammo, so you're not going around running and gunning, which is fun. So it forces a lot of the stealth in the game, and there's objectives, and sometimes you get into a hairy situation where you're not fighting, you're just running. Like you have a melee attack, but you're not gonna knock enemies out. But it's still such a change of pace from like the first level, which made you feel like this is gonna be a horror gore thing. The problem though is that not the problem, but the thing that's keeping me hooked right now is that in between chapters you're not like current. Like everything that's happening, you're like dipping in and out of reality and dipping in and out of the continuity of the main story. Including the first chapter to what ends the first chapter doesn't feel connected. It's almost like there's something else going on, and that seems pretty cool. And that's what's got me going. But it's like you said, it's the psychological side of it. I think is it Thief 2? Thief 2, I think, not Thief 2, Thief the remake has you going to like an abandoned. I can't stare at that eye anymore. It's fucking freaking me out. It has me going to like a mental ward on an island.
An asylum?
Yes, an asylum. And that was super creepy. Like it was super creepy to go through, and you don't even fight anyone because of like it was just a general pacing of that level that kind of gets you kind of like feared out.
Like how they could put no combat in a specific zone, but the way it's presented makes you think something's going to happen, and you don't want to progress.
Yes, that kind of that atmospheric. I was going to say atmospheric pressure, but that's a meteorological term. But I'm saying the pressure that comes from being in that atmosphere of like the silence, and then something moved magically, and you're like, it's all pacing for the game. And then it's weird that it could do that because it can mess with your nerves, but it's super not real. Like you're already in an unreal environment, experiencing it. Like it's kind of like the Scary Movie part of it. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of like these jump scare style games on the old Steam there. Emily wants to play. There's one called like The Park where you go like into an amusement park, and a lot of these are they just have you walking through scary situations. But I don't know how scary those are. They feel like one component of what would make a good scary game.
I watched a Let's Play of Until Dawn, and that might have been the closest I've ever come to buying and playing a walking sim, because the story is presented very well. It's just like you're in your own teen horror flick where you've got some teenagers on a mountain, and there's an accident where some girls die, and on the anniversary of their death, everybody gathers to sort of celebrate because they do the annual celebration on the mountain, and they don't want to break tradition, and then spooky things happen. And there are supernatural elements, but they're not presented like garbage bullshit magic. They're more sort of like an urban legend. They use the Wendigo for their monster. And it has like its own little backing with Native Americans and spiritual burial grounds and miners coming in and waking the spirits. And then all hell breaks loose. But that is more jump scary and decision making. I feel like there's a lot of you want to succeed and not you want to just progress, because it sort of uses this mechanic called the butterfly effect, where every single decision you make will change the outcome of the gameplay.
Sorry, camera's been chopping. So it's like it changed the outcome of the game. Do people die? Like, will people die based off your decisions? Like that gravity. Like, there's some heavy shit.
They present that at the front of the game. Like, I think during the tutorial they say, people can and will die, and it's not just like they'll die near the end. There are people that die like towards the middle. So that actually removes components of the storytelling because you play one at a time through each character's sort of part of the story. And some parts are together, some parts are isolated in separate parts of the mountain. So you can miss certain things in the game and just not know what happens. And there's another part that I really like where you collect these items that tell you piece by piece, like each item it will be 2 seconds of footage of the entire backstory. And from a story perspective, I really enjoyed it. From a gameplay, not so much. I can only walk and press A so many times.
So you just reminded me of a game that I found super scary, and I haven't finished it yet. Just stuff happened, and then I get distracted, which is the same story I get for every game I don't finish. But that's why I don't finish games. Stuff happens, and then I have other stuff to do. So, Alan Wake. Did you play Alan Wake?
No.
Alan Wake is a fucking scary game. Alan Wake is a legit, like, spooky game where the entire ambiance is so scary. You have to fight. So you're a writer, and a story that you don't remember writing is coming to life. And the thing about it is, it has everything that I was talking about. So it has it has the occasional jump scare. You're fighting like what used to be people who are losing their mind, right? There's this weird dichotomy of you don't know if what you're experiencing is in your head or real, and the world totally changes at night. So, like, anything that happens during the game during the day is fine, but anything that happens in the darkness is totally freaky. And there's the darkness that is taking over people, where you have to, like, literally to fight them, you have to, like, shine a flashlight at them to get the darkness to weaken, and then once the darkness weakens, you can shoot them. So it's this weird thing where you can't. Again, it's another thing where you can't just go in guns a-blazing. You have to run away, weaken them with a flashlight or with a flare. A flare would be the equivalent to a grenade, basically, because you can go light. You can have like your flashlight runs on batteries. You have to keep getting batteries. You run through like these darkness tunnels where it's like, it is really good. It was really good, and then it messes with you, and some people believe you, and some people don't, and people are missing, and then of course there's they're missing when you're around. You may or may not have killed your wife. You don't know. It's super great. It's so great, and then it keeps running back this backstory of someone who this happened to in the past was parallel, but you don't play through it. You just like read it, and when you talk about the collectibles, you collect pages from his book that he wrote. Because he's being blackmailed on top of everything. He's being told that he has to bring the book he wrote in order to get his wife. His wife's been kidnapped. So there's is his wife disappeared? Is his wife taken by the darkness? Did he kill his wife, or is his wife actually kidnapped? And now you have to get together all the pieces of this book that you wrote. And the guys at is it Remedy? Right? Are those the Max Payne guys? Remedy?
I don't know. I don't play. Isn't that PS4 Max Payne? I don't
no, it's just console. So anyway, they even did like these little like Twilight Zone movies. Like they made little live action Twilight Zone movies that you stumble upon TVs and get to watch. Like it's really, really good. I just realized that like right now I want to go back and play Alan Wake. Like I want to finish it. I'm about halfway through.
I actually played another game. It's I want to say it's part of that scary game genre. It's called Dead by Daylight. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I have. And you go ahead, you tell your part, and I'll tell you why I didn't buy it, because I was going to buy it the day before yesterday.
Well, no, I want you to tell me immediately what happened.
Oh, they're getting a lot of reports that there's competitive balance issues.
Oh, yeah. Well, I play with the guy who's been playing, I want to say, since beta. So he sort of carries me through it, and he taught me, all the little intricacies of the game. But I didn't originally buy it because there was no matchmaking for parties. It was just you join a match, and then if your friends aren't there, you leave. But you son of a bitch. Now
you're choppy. I can't do it. Go ahead.
Now they fixed it. You can just, sort of queue up your party. I'm running into, I want to say now it's really biased towards killers, but that's okay. It's a 4-to-1. For those that don't know, it's a 4-to-1 game where you have 4 survivors in a small sealed compound with a killer. Now you cannot fight the killer directly. You can't hurt him, but you can stun him. There are pallets that you can sort of drop in his way, and he'll get stunned. You can shine a flashlight in his eye to blind him. But essentially, you're just trying to power these generators to open or power the gates, and then open the gates, and then just get out. The whole gameplay is based off of avoiding the killer and escaping alive. The killer's just trying to kill you. Simple, exciting, not too scary. I want to say it's a little spooky because there are little elements such as crows. The crows will actually give away your position. Where if you're just looking in that direction, you'll see the crow fly away. If you're nearby and you have, who doesn't have a headset, you'll hear which direction the crow's calling from. So the killer can't see you, but they can see the generators. And then the killer runs faster than you, but the killer isn't as agile as you. It sort of takes him a while to get through windows and over obstacles. But I want to say, yeah, go for it and we'll play some. Because, I mean, it's sort of supposed to be biased towards the killer, you know?
Yeah, but that's not what I was reading. I was reading other things like that they've changed it, and they're nerfing the survivors over and over again, so that it's not fun to play the survivor. And when I first started watching the game, it felt like it'd be more fun to play the survivor, just because you have more stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to hide, you have to start the generator, you have to save people from coming off the hooks. I had a lot of people say that the community is just kind of like they're popping up techniques that just make the game not fun. Basically, like kill camping and stuff, and it's just it's turning away probably from the spirit of the game, and that the developers aren't addressing the issues because that's the developers should put in mechanics like. If there's a shitty way to win and people exploit it, then it's kind of the developer's job to step in because if not, the community will die. So I didn't want to spend money on it and then have the community die. Because I was waiting for it to go on sale, and it totally got on sale for Halloween. And I just went in and reviewed more current stuff on it, and it was everyone complaining. It's like, I've been playing since beta, and the game's gone downhill. Like, everyone's saying the same thing, and I was like, all right, well, it sounds like everyone's leaving.
I wouldn't go that far. I actually got my copy as a gift. So I jumped in with two buddies of mine, and it's definitely more fun if you're playing with friends because there are no voice comms, there are no text comms. If you're a survivor, you cannot communicate with anybody else in the game. So if you're on like Discord or Skype, it's a little more fun. You can communicate, maybe cheat a little. But if you're in the game, you're not talking. You only hear the music, the ambiance, and noises in the game. Which, by the way. It's simple, but so effective. The closer the killer is to you, the faster the heartbeat that you can hear. The heartbeat accelerates. Then you hear music, and then you hear like this awful whinging sound that gets louder and louder the closer he is to you. And that is horrifying. But, I mean, you get caught, and then you get put on a hook, and that feeling goes away. So I want to say it's not as scary, more of a rush, but still spooky. A little bit. It's what I feel like Left 4 Dead should have been. Maybe like a Left 4 Dead Evolve mashup. It's sort of like that, but like Left 4 Dead isn't scary. It's just
no. There was absolutely nothing scary about Left 4 Dead. It was very intense.
Yeah,
it was very intense and it was a lot of fun. But Left 4 Dead I would not classify that as a scary game. Dead by Daylight. Not Dead by Daylight. That was the one we were just talking about. Oh, man. Dying Light. Did you play Dying Light?
No. I wanted to, but I got pissed off because Dying Light is what Dead Island should have been for me. And then I bought it, and it was just, I couldn't find anybody to play with.
So, wait. Dead Island?
Dead Island is less...
Dead Island, another game that's not scary.
Yeah.
Dying Light did a good job of making it scary for about an hour, and after that, it stops being scary because you level up and you have nothing to fear anymore.
Drop kicking zombies left and right.
Yeah, but it's like super intense. Like the first time it's nighttime and you're caught out of a state, you're not in a safe house and you have to get to a safe house. Is legit scary. But again, it's about creating that level of tension in the game that it's not just. Like jump scares and all that other nonsense. Speaking of, one of the simplest games that I have not finished because I tapped out and said I don't want to do this to myself again. Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh my god! I was hoping you weren't gonna fucking say that.
Have you played? Have you
No,
played
I
Final
refuse
Fantasy?
to. It's ridiculous.
I played. They had the 5-pack on sale, like the entire series for like $10, like 6 months ago, and I'm like, I'm gonna check this out. I want to see. Everyone's been talking about it. I shit you not. I got past night 1 on the first game and said, "There's no reason to play this. Like, there's no reason to play that game, because you don't do anything. Like, you don't. You just sit there and you close doors when you think monsters are gonna eat you." And all you do is you look at the video cameras and watch the monsters get slowly and like cut from one room to another. And there's no interaction. Like, there's nothing else. It's just to sit there and be alone in a room and get scared. And that's why I never went back to it. It's not that like I'm super scared. It's just that the entire premise is flawed. Like, everything about the premise of the game is flawed. You're the overnight security guard. They tell you, like, when you take the job, that the robots kill people. Right? The doors, in order to stay shut, require power. Instead of just gravity or whatever.
Locks,
or locks.
Deadbolts on the inside.
Stuff that closes doors all of the time, but apparently at this particular pizza shop, whatever. And all you can do is look in the cameras or close doors. That's your entire interaction with the world. And then slowly things are like, and then you cut to the camera and you come back and you say, oh. And then you cut to the camera and come back and you go, and you're like, wait a minute. You have your little map. You're like, oh, this dude's 2 rooms away. And the power, like, I don't even understand how the security booth is set up. It's battery powered. So you'll lose power. So it requires power to stay shut. And if you panic and shut them too soon, it drains your power so they won't be shut later. I didn't die the first night. I just got past it. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm just sitting here just trying to be scared. Like, is that the entire purpose of this game? I'm done. So I have the entire Five Nights at Freddy's series.
Notes I played.
I've played. Hold on, how much? How much time does this thing give me credit for?
0.23 hours.
Yeah, there you go. So there's just no reason to play that game. There's just none.
I watched the video about the story behind it. That's fucking cool. About this whole conspiracy to keep, like, the restaurants open because some kid accidentally died, or one of the animatronics killed a child, and that's awesome. Like, this is all like interpreted through the gameplay, which is almost the only reason to play the game, not to be scared or fucking ham it up on stream. You got people falling out of their chairs. You get the headsets flying off. It's ridiculous. It's a jump scare. You know what a jump scare looks like? That's it.
Ah!
That's what a jump scare looks like. You flinch. You don't audibly yell in your home alone.
No.
That's not what happens.
And flail your arms.
Yeah, and then I have to pause the game.
Yeah.
Grow up.
I wonder
how.
I wonder how those people take biting into like a piece of fruit that's sour. Like I like to see that. Oh God, this isn't ripe. I need to brush my tongue. I need to brush my tongue right now. I don't. Whatever. It's whatever. It gets hits.
They bite into a frozen pizza roll and it's still frozen in the middle.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Or they bite into a hot pocket. It's like lava.
It's even worse.
It's
I think it's stuck to you.
Oh my God! I just bit into Mount Vesuvius. It burns my lips.
I have to pause the stream and go find my mom real quick. And then she comes in because she's so worried about you.
Oh my God! It's so hot. I need the abominable snowman to piss into my mouth. It's the only thing that will soothe this. I need to blow an aloe vera plant. It's the only it's gonna take the burning in my mouth away. I need Valtrax for Hot Pocket Valtrax.
Having said that, I have watched, which is why I'm complaining about it, Let's Plays about all of the scary games. Because the story is awesome. I'm not going to spend $10-15 on a walking sim or a button pressing sim.
Yeah, but I was going to say FNAF is a sitting sim.
Yeah.
Which is weird because you sit while you do it.
I don't watch TV because I'm not I'm a watcher. I'm a doer. I want to do something in a game, I want to do shit. I don't want to push buttons and look at. I don't want to watch someone watching a thing. That's lame. But what's not lame? Have you seen Outlast?
No.
That might be the only game that I'm actually afraid to play. I feel like Outlast is condemned with no combat. And I've seen, I know what the story is, so it won't be as cool as playing it. You're essentially a journalist that goes into an asylum to uncover a conspiracy, but you are armed with a video camera that's battery powered, and you have to collect batteries to keep your visibility. Is essentially what you're trying to do there.
Oh, a la Doom. Oh man. Oh, I'm looking at it right now. Oh, there's a sequel to it now.
Yeah,
So you're using the camera as NVGs, and because of that, it's giving you like that Paris Hilton sex tape effect and everything that you're doing, and it's super scary. Oh, but you're a parkour guy too, because everyone in every game is also good at parkour. All
he
right.
does rock climbing on his weekends.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like, oh, look at me, I'm a parkour guy. No backstory. I am a journalist, but also watch me kick off this wall. I am awesome.
There's this one great part in the game about, I want to say 45 minutes in, where you're just crawling around the sanitarium and there's two naked dudes raping a dead dude. And he has no head.
Okay, just real quick.
Real quick.
You got to
Just-
throw out spoiler alert when you're going to do that, right? Because now,
You
when
know
I
what-
get to that scene, I'm going to be underwhelmed.
You know what the fucked up part
at
is?
the
A lot of people
three-way
miss that.
Necrophilia. Who misses that? Who
Because the
walks
thing
past?
is, they get up and they like do a big circle turnaround and don't see that the guy is mounting the dead body on the floor. Like the dialogue, narrates that perfectly. The guy fucking the corpse accuses you of being some sort of sick pervert for watching him do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, how long were you watching?
A couple of seconds,
Yeah, did you turn and look? You had to confirm? Like, were you making sure that there was a little penny there? Like,
It instantly turned him off. I'm pretty sure you can see a semi going.
yeah, so
This game ain't putting no punches.
It just go pew 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 pew. I'm not into voyeurism, you freak.
Which is fucked up because there's another guy watching them.
Yeah, but
about
he was invited to the party though. You weren't invited to the party. You just showed up
With a
trying
camera.
trying to ruin your day. Kids are scary, dude. Like when they put kids in a game, a lot of times it can be scary. Like at least for a little bit, right? Like a little.
Like Alma from Fear.
Yeah, but again, Fear's another game that wasn't scary. Like the first Fear had scary moments, and then that was it. And then the rest of the Fear series was a first-person shooter, where eventually you would walk down like a wiggly hallway. I wouldn't even call it scary. You would walk down and be like, "Ooh," would happen, and it'd be like, and then all right, back to shooting. Like I believe it was evil government agents who were trying to
game
control
did that
supernatural
perfectly?
powers to make an army, right? I think that was it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think the ghosts had their own plan, and then the government was trying to harness the ghost powers, and
Yeah,
it wasn't working out so well.
it was something. It sounds ridiculous saying it out loud.
Don't most game plots,
Yeah, but I mean, you just want it to sound like, even like if it's just like a bad movie plot, like I can live with it. I feel like some stuff are just some stuff is just good storytelling, man. Like Mass Effect doesn't sound like a ridiculous plot, right?
Do you like Dead Space?
I
Dead Space?
didn't get into Dead Space. I played the first one and I just couldn't get into it. Like it wasn't scary, but it wasn't. It probably was different for its time, but it didn't feel different enough. Like
There
it
were
didn't feel like
some-
it was worth time.
I feel kind of hurt actually because I really like Dead Space. I didn't play the third one, but there were some moments where you're sort of responsible for holding your own in an area, and you've got guns, but ammo's limited, and it's done very spookily. If we're making up words, there's this one part, and there's
I think Spooky's word.
I think two, where you're in a train, and the train crashes, and you're hung upside down with your foot stuck in the doorway, and you've got these necromorphs coming at you, and you have to do the entire thing in reverse because you're staying upside down or hanging upside down. That's genuinely horrifying. I know, it's just a game, and I can
No.
close my eyes and press pause and do some.
You can throw your headphones in the air and
You can-
totally
yeah, just-
overreact.
I need to leave the room. Everybody, just fucking do your emojis in chat, please.
So there is that part of it, right? So you have the horror games, right? And then you have like the survival horror games where some of the horror that you feel comes from survival. And I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go off the board here for something that's not technically a horror game, and I'm gonna go Darkest Dungeon. And I'm gonna go that there is a certain not fear of the monsters, but intensity of that need to survive that the game puts on you that makes it almost equally as stressful as a true horror game. Which is weird because the game has a dynamic called stress in it where you're just like, this is stressful. And then the guy goes, I'm stressed. Then he gets too stressed and then he dies from a heart attack. And you're like, But that almost that kind of balancing of it in the general environment of it kind of makes it feel stressful, but that kind of stress is the same type of stress that you would feel like in like when you feel like a scary situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I think I understand what you're saying, but in that instance, for me, I have that feel of failure because I don't. I've played it and I've had to stop playing it for a little while because, I lose all the people that I care about. And I know I'm supposed to, go wide with it, invest in many small guys instead of a couple of big guys. But
Yeah, just okay. So now we're gonna go off on a Darkest Dungeon tangent just for a second, and we'll bring it back around. But it's like I just got the game again on thing, and it's the type of intensity and permadeath makes you feel like Wasteland 2 made me feel that way because the resources felt so low in that game, and then the way I feel about permadeath when I was playing XCOM, and so when you invest a lot of time and dies, like you feel bad. But the Wasteland 2 definitely had that resource management, like shortage of it. Like you didn't bring enough food in Wasteland. You had like 2 bullets, 3 sandwiches. Like that's all you would have for like a 3-hour, essentially dungeon crawl. But I played through the first 2 levels real easy. You get back, you're stressed. You got new people arriving in your caravan. So people don't know, Darkest Dungeon is a turn-based RPG. Like side scroller, cell shady style game. I don't think cell shady is the right way to say it. It's not. It looks almost like Flash art, but it's not Flash. I don't know how to describe the art style. But it's really good. The game's pretty fun. It's got a lot of the again the turn based effect. You have your classic setups ready, whatever. But you have something called stress. So just being in a dungeon in the dark. And then certain times during combat, it'll trigger your character to get stressed. At 100 stress, they get a something check, where either they're gonna get like really messed up psychologically, or they're gonna be like, I've overcome my stress. And at 200 stress, you have a heart attack. And to take the stress off, it doesn't end when you leave the dungeon. You have to come back and have them do like a stress release. Either prayer, self-flagellation, meditation, drinking, gambling, or fucking. And when you do that, you're committing to not have them in your party for your next raid or whatever, your next dungeon crawl. Well, there's this other dynamic that I was not aware of, which is that like religious people won't fight with a werewolf. I had no idea. And I put all my non-religious people were super stressed out. I put them down. This caravan comes. You need 4 people. The only person available was a werewolf. I get the werewolf. I go to that, and it was like, I'm religious. I can't be with a werewolf. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? And I had already checked the guys into like the rehab, and to pull them out of the rehab, I'd have to pull them out and lose the money. I restarted the game. I'm starting over. I'm like, I just paid 1,500 gold to put you in a rehab, and I have to pull you out of rehab because fucking Little Miss Healer doesn't want to fight with the werewolf. What the fuck is going on here? This is Bananas Towns. This was not clearly explained to me that I would have these type of character issues.
You could always overcommit like I do and just lose people in dungeon, and then come away with like one veteran. He'll be like the sage old folk in the corner, just rocking his chair, telling about the horror stories of prejudice in the dungeon and running out of light. I have that problem with a lot of roguelikes.
Right, roguelikes.
Yeah, the fear of loss. Just stopped playing for a while, a couple months.
Yeah, that's so rough. That's why I stopped playing Wasteland 2. Like, I couldn't take it. So why I stopped playing XCOM. There was this one mission. It was skippable, but I refused to skip it. But I could not make it out there without my sniper getting out of there. And she was like the shit sniper. She was the best sniper on Earth. and then no matter how many times I played through, I could not get her out of there alive. And I was like, but I'm too stubborn to skip. It was like a UFO crash,
Hmm.
and I couldn't bring myself to skip the UFO crash.
Did
Like
you
if
try save scumming?
what's that?
Where you sort of just try a bunch of different things out and save just before you attempt? Doesn't work, reload. Because there's an option to actually check when you start the game, I believe, that says essentially every reload will just give you new RNG elements. So, a miss will always be a miss. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so like no matter how many times you go through.
Yeah, there are some parts of the game where if you try to save scum, that thing will always be that thing. That roll or that chance element will always be the same. And this makes it so it's just random every time. I've done that. I'm not ashamed.
I mean, I blowed back to the start of the mission. I have to like live with myself, Like I have to go to bed at night. I have to look myself in the mirror, you know. Can't come home, hug my kids, and have them know that their dad, when no one's looking, is being a piece of shit in a video game. So I don't play Loki and Smite. Like it's the same thing. Like I have to be able to live with myself at the end of the day. All right, I feel like we did it. I feel like we did a Halloween episode.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. We're good.
Yeah. I feel like we covered.
Between us, we've played like 5 horror games.
No, I've played a lot of horror games. It's just that like the point is made that most horror games aren't scary. Like if you wanted here's what I'm gonna say. You want to be a good horror game. I don't want to be fighting zombies, right? I'm done. Like I'm done with zombies. 2, cannot have abundant resources. Like I have to fear my mistakes. Like I literally have to make a mistake and go, I have to start the entire game over again. Like that's how I have to feel. So I have to have the stress of the game in addition to the stress of whatever's like coming at me. Like it has to feel desperate. I need to feel desperate the whole time. It needs to be like psychologically, like it's got to get in the brain piece. Like there has to be something bigger going on, other than a thing, and it has to be beatable too. Like it can't just be like I can't think of a good example, but I know like you play games that you get to a certain point and it stops being about like the horror part and it just goes into being difficult. Like, hey, dude, we're going to be a difficult game, and that's what's going to get you. And then they just start overwhelming you with enemies. That's no good. Like the enemy has to be like some dysmorphic human counterpart too. Like it's not like you're not gonna like lizard people. It's not what I want. Zombies, like I'm over. Can't be vampires. Like it has to be like Pinhead from Hellraiser. All the monsters from Hellraiser still scary. They're still scary. The movies are terrible, but you could put them in a video and make them scary. They're scary because it's like a representation of a human that's fucked up in some way. And I know people are gonna say, "Well, zombies are done. They're done. They're beaten to death. Them and Nazis. They're and the reason that they're so done is because you could kill literally gajillions of them and not feel bad. Like there's no emotional attachment to them, and that's why they stop being scary. That's why it's not scary to fight a zombie anymore. Because I've killed so many in video games that it doesn't mean anything to me. Hell, you kill them in fucking Minecraft for fuck's sakes. In Minecraft, the enemy's a zombie.
Holy shit, dude! Let me
players.
tell you about Minecraft Nighttime playing in alpha. Oh my god, dude, that was so fucking spooky, man. I didn't even know I should build a house. I was like, damn, this game has a day-night cycle. That's fucking cool. What's that noise? What's going on?
That by the way, that's everyone's first Minecraft story. I literally stopped playing that game. Like I wasn't into. You told me to play it, and I wasn't into it, and I played it, and I wasn't enjoying it. And then zombies killed me. I'm like, this fucking game is stupid. But what the hell do I know? The thing's made a gajillion dollars, and it's like the biggest thing, and it's curing autism.
Wow.
I don't understand it. I'm not.
Holy shit.
I'm not in tune with those games, but I mean,
I don't know. It sounds like what you're describing is, and if I'm not done dick riding Condemned, it sounds like you're describing Condemned.
yeah,
Condemned did something amazing. They showed, they didn't tell, which is something they did in the second game. Destroyed the franchise.
yeah, and again, Condemned is definitely one of the best. I'm glad you brought that up because I would have never have thought like about that one because Condemned does last. Like, and again, it's the whole thing is that you're in like a gritty city and back alleys, losing your mind,
Yeah, you're not fighting.
fighting real people.
You're not fighting supernatural. You're fighting yourself, your psychological break, and hobos with pipes.
Yes, yeah,
That's-
and
it feels
yeah,
good.
and you don't just have like infinite amounts of ammo. Like you have to
Oh yeah,
fight them with pipes of your own.
find-
Found pipes too, not like the
Yeah.
pipe you came to work with.
Oh no! You rip shit out of the wall. Like you're in a like a halfway built house. You rip
Yeah,
the floorboards
I was
off
gonna
the floor and
say
fight.
one critique about that game. I would say a lot of partially built houses. Like you spend a lot of time. Like
Yeah, so there's a
There's
lot
a-
of construction. Is this New York? What's going on?
yeah, I know. There's a lot of new construction in hobo-filled alleys, which is a little much. And I know some of the buildings were actually condemned.
Whoa,
Um,
dude, layers.
right? What? Dude,
What?
I'm so fucking meta sometimes.
That's crazy. Holy shit.
I don't even know. But yeah, so this has been our attempt. I went, by the way, from having zero Halloween content on the YouTube channel to three things in 3 days. If I post this tonight, I'm gonna post it tonight. It's gonna get posted. No intro and outro, just straight in, just
Yeah.
with my jump scare thing. Which is
Dude.
my
Hey, there you go. We'll cut this bit out. Jump scare at the beginning, another one at the end.
no, we I already did a jump scare thing on an unboxing video I did for
Oh.
these headphones. It was great. Pissed a lot of people off. It's the dream achieved. All right, well, this has been Space Chicken's attempt at a Halloween episode. Space Chicken out.